I'm Rachel Horgan. Join me each episode as I sit down with a guest co-host covering the latest business stories in the Seattle area. We'll read the news so you don't have to. This is The Weekly. It's me. Hi. I'm going to do something a little different on this episode, which is that I'm going to recap the articles separately. So I'll do a little quick life update / business news update. And then I'm going to play the recording of the interview that I just did. I just finished recording with Ken's Market. So we'll see if you like this. If you don't, let me know. We're going to try it out for a couple episodes. Just part of it is because there's articles that I want to cover, but it doesn't totally make sense with the guest. And sometimes, like today, I really wanted to just talk about the grocery industry, and there wasn't really an article that made sense for that. So I don't know. Sometimes I'm not sure if people tune in for the interview portion or tune in to be caught up on the news, or maybe it's both, but we'll give it a go. So I do want to say, after the last episode with my friend Laura Marie Myers, I went to her book launch down at Beguiled Books. Shout out to them. The owner interviewed her, and I guess the owner was in her writing group. So it was really fun since they knew each other, and they decked it out in like NSYNC posters. They had goodie bags with lip smackers. There were scrunchies. They had Capri Suns for snacks. I love a good theme. So that was fun. And it's so inspiring to watch someone fulfill their dream. And I just was so proud of her and so excited for her. And even though I know her and we did a full episode together, I was like in line to get my book signed. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna meet her, which is just so silly. But I finished the book. It's called The Mashup, if you guys didn't listen to last week's episode, and I liked it. I thought it was really, really fun. So go support her. The other plug I wanted to do is for Formidable's Women's Health Summit. I haven't talked a lot about it on here, but I've been working with Emily Parkhurst, a friend of the pod. She's putting on this health summit, and it's for anybody that is interested. So it's not, you don't have to work in the health industry. It's just if you care about women's health and you want to learn more. It's going to be October 30th. It's all day over at the Maidenbauer Center. There is a trade show portion, so you can walk the floor and kind of learn more. There's also 20-ish, almost 20 different sessions that we're putting together based on things like fertility and postpartum, menopause and perimenopause, longevity and aging. We're going to talk about things like GLP-1s, caregiving. I mean, there's just some really high up experts that will be speaking at this. So take a look at that, beformidable.com, Women's Health Summit. Okay, here are our stories today. We've got some tech layoffs. We've got some creepy tech guy doing some creepy things with hidden cameras. Starbucks is closing, and we'll talk about what's going on with the Ballard Goodwill. So let's dive into it. First one is layoffs. So Zillow is laying off more than 500 employees, which is 7% of its workforce. This is a big layoff. This is coming, they say, because of the slow housing market and mortgage interest rates that are staying high. This does only affect 91 Seattle employees. What's interesting is that GeekWire did an article that their revenue was actually increased by 18% in the second quarter. However, all these layoffs and the severance and the restructuring cost them so much money that they ultimately ended up with a loss. So I guess they're playing the long game on this. Other layoffs include Google laying off 52 employees in Washington State and Salesforce cutting about the same, around 59 employees in Seattle and Bellevue. So if you're listening to this and you just got laid off, or you've been laid off and you can't find a job, you're not alone. Not alone at all. Okay, moving into the next story, which is, oh my God. An ex-Pokemon employee was charged after hidden cameras found. And if you're thinking, Rachel, that story sounds kind of familiar, that's because I think it was our first episode ever. We did a story about an ex-Expedia employee doing the same thing. And when I saw this headline, I thought, oh, did they have a typo? Were they following up on this case? Nope. Different guy doing creepy things. So, 45-year-old man, he's a former Pokemon director of engineering, facing voyeurism and child exploitation charges. Basically, what's funny about this is that, I mean, it's not funny, obviously, but he got caught because of an $8 coffee. He went to a Starbucks, and one of the employees found a hidden camera in the bathroom. And so they went, and the police looked at the footage and saw this guy going in and out, and they were able to connect it to him because of the $8 coffee he bought on his credit card. So he gets caught. He admits to doing it to Starbucks and I guess another location, a Safeway. And then the police find obviously a lot more footage on his hard drives, including a camera at the Pokemon offices and his home with his wife and kids. Ugh. Not sure what's going to happen with how much. I think he's pleading not guilty, but the other guy, the ex-Expedia guy, ended up getting 4 years in prison. So I wonder if it'll be a similar sentence. Okay, let's move on because that's gross. Starbucks at 99 3rd, which is where I used to work, is closed. They actually opted to not renew its lease. I initially wasn't surprised because Starbucks has been closing locations all over the place. But when you look into it, part of the reason is DocuSign has made plans to leave that building by next summer. They're going to move over to the JP Morgan Chase building over on 2nd. So you can imagine, when DocuSign leaves the building, not enough employees to buy the Starbucks. With DocuSign leaving, that leaves a building at a vacancy rate of 56%. Yikes. So this makes a lot of sense. All right, the last story before I play my interview is about Ballard Goodwill. So this Goodwill has been there for about 2 decades, and Seattle-based real estate investment firm Timberlane Partners said, hey, we have an idea. Let's turn this into a 300-unit mixed-use development. They've submitted plans to the city saying, hey, is this possible? Can we do this? This is what we want to do. And that space is actually owned by a Portland-based commercial real estate firm. So Goodwill leases it from this Portland company. So if the city says, hey, yeah, that's technically doable, then it's up to this Portland company to either sell it and have them develop it, or maybe they keep it and they hire this developer to make these changes. Mixed reviews. I think some people are, wanting to keep this Goodwill. It's been there a long time, and some people might be excited about some new development and new units. So we'll keep an eye on that. It's not fully confirmed, but that is the plans that they have submitted. Okay, that's it for this week's news. I'm going to go ahead and play this interview about grocery stores and my feelings on self-checkout and how Ken's is competing with some of those bigger companies. So take a listen. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited for today's episode because I love Ken's Market, and I reached out because I want to talk about the business of grocery stores, and that's what we're going to do today. It's going to be a special episode like we've been doing all summer where we kind of dive deep into one industry, and this week it's going to be grocery stores, specifically independent grocery stores. So joining me virtually is Derek Giles. He is the co-owner of Ken's Market. Hi, Derek.
Hi, Rachel. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've learned so much already just from researching, so I think the audience is going to learn a lot. But I want to start with kind of a brief overview and history because Ken's has such a long history dating back to like the 1950s. So I'm going to do a little overview, and you can kind of fill in the blanks if I miss something, and then we'll get into kind of more of like the business side of things. But my interpretation of the story is that it all started with a guy named Ken. He was working at his uncle's market in Greenwood. And then he thought, you know what? A little bit later in the 1950s, he's going to open up his own store. And then him and his business partner, the butcher, that when they opened that second location?
Yeah, Vic. Vic did all kinds of things, but that was one thing that he did too.
Okay. So him and his buddy Vic open up another location, which is the one right by my house, actually, Upper Queen Anne. And then close to 1970, they open a third location in Fremont, and it's called Market Time Foods, which you still own. And I think a lot of people might not know that that's all connected. And then at some time later, the family, the 3 sons, purchased the Queen Anne store separately. So I think many people don't know that that's still in the family, just kind of owned and operated separately. And then, yeah, Ken retires. They start remodeling some of the other locations. And I want to get to this point, which is that you're relatively new to the ownership. It looked like you started taking over in 2019. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I worked in the stores for a long time before, but me and my partners started buying in 2019.
And are your partners part of the family too? It's because I know you're a co-owner, so who all owns it now?
One of them is my cousin, and then 2 of the other ones are 2 longtime employees, and one of them has been a childhood friend of mine.
Oh, wow. I love that. I was going through all this. I'm like, does nobody have daughters, or were the daughters like, no thanks?
No one had daughters.
Yeah. That's funny how that works.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So how has that transition been, kind of jumping in from working in the grocery store to now being one of the co-owners? How's that been for you guys?
It was big time imposter syndrome at first. It kind of jumping in and feeling like you have the reins of, we have 95 employees.
Oh, wow.
But it was something that we were carefully brought along. The previous ownership did a really good job of making sure that we weren't set up to fail at all. And with it being a gradual succession, it made it pretty doable, I suppose, even though we got in right before COVID. And it was, we definitely started the School of Hard Knocks with being the only business open around us during that time.
Can you imagine? You're like, here you go, guys. Like, it's yours now. And you're like, okay, cool. Yeah, I think I can do this. Bam, COVID. You're like, oh, God. That's a lot to handle. Was there anything like, because you said you worked in the stores a long time, was there anything that you're like, once I'm in charge, this is the thing I'm going to change? Like, was there like one thing you wanted to change?
Yeah, definitely. Out of high school, I went to culinary school, actually.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I had a great experience at Edmonds Community College culinary program. And something I always knew was a little bit of a gap in our stores was just kind of the way things were done in our food service parts of the store, the deli. So I went to culinary school and cooked in restaurants for about 5 or 6 years. And then I went back to the grocery store and kind of brought the things I had learned out in the restaurant world to the grocery store.
Oh, that's really cool. I love that. Okay, well, let's get into kind of the money side and the business side of things. So I'm curious about the number of distributors and how that has changed. And I will say my small example is that I worked front desk at a hotel, and part of my job was ordering for that little market, like Kit Kats, Reese's, like whatever. And so I think I ordered from, what is it, US Foods is like one of the main ones. So it was that one and one other one, but that was years and years and years ago. So yeah, how have the number of distributors changed, and how does that impact your business?
Our main distributors haven't really changed all that much since I've been there. Like Charlie's Produce, we buy produce from, and we're their longest active customer, actually. My grandpa was friends with the Charlie.
Oh my gosh, Charlie and Ken.
Yeah, I think our customer number is like 2, I think.
Wow.
But then there's all the small independent ones that come through. And, you know, it can be kind of fun to see some of like the smaller ones turn into bigger ones. But for us, it's, you know, our ears are always open. I think probably the most major thing that happened was when UNFI acquired SuperValue, which is like the major grocery distributor in Washington and the West Coast. And when that happened, it was like right during COVID. And that was kind of like when you heard about all the supply chain stuff happening, was they had a heck of a time getting people staffed in their warehouses. And, you know, grocery stores in Seattle weren't getting groceries there for a while.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about how, you know, we've been doing some articles about how Amazon is growing their grocery store business. They're really getting into that. Walmart obviously is a big place for groceries, and, you know, Costco, of course. How does an independent grocery store like Ken's even compete with that? Because of course you can't compete on pricing, but like how do you stack up against them? What's your thought process on that?
Yeah, that's something we talk about a lot, and we haven't really gotten anywhere past. We just have to stick to our guns and try and be so different of an experience from these things that we're kind of almost looking at ourselves as something kind of just a different business. You will never be able to match the convenience of ordering online or how cheap things are, like in store there. But if people come in and can get a good sandwich, feel like they're part of the community, and have like very carefully curated items, meat, produce, to me, that's just a different thing than going online and buying your week's groceries, because our customers are kind of buying stuff for tonight, you know, not necessarily a family loading up for the week.
Yeah, that's a good distinction. I was going to ask about online grocery delivery. Was that something that you thought of, or is it just like that would take so much infrastructure and money that it's not worth it?
Yeah, we set up with Instacart at one point, but we did not have a good experience with it. The percentage that they wanted to take and the platform that they had wasn't the slickest on our end, keeping things updated and prices updated and stuff. It was just big headache that wasn't worth it for us. So
really, that's interesting.
If something else comes along, you know, we'll think about it. But for now, we have no intentions of doing any online.
Well, and I think I know the answer to this one, but I know a lot of grocery stores do their own label, like the Kroger label or the Kirkland label. Is that just like not even feasible for a company of your size to create your own whatever barbecue sauce?
Yeah, it's something that we've looked into, but at the scale that we're at, it probably hasn't made sense. The thing that we've kind of done in that direction is we've done collaborations with local breweries. With we'll design the can label, we'll go taste the beer with the brewery, kind of like describe the kind of thing we're looking for. And then they'll just do a run of beer for us. And then they'll usually sell it like in their tap houses and stuff. So that part's been a little bit more of an interesting, fun way of doing a private label versus, throwing it on some Caesar dressing or something.
Yeah. It sounds like you kind of throughout your answers, I can tell that you're working a lot with like local companies. One more question on kind of the big business thing is like the Albertsons Kroger merger that almost went through. Were you concerned about that happening, or does that not quite affect your business?
I think it ultimately probably would have been good for us, but we were definitely not rooting for it to happen because I think it would have been a net negative for everyone. But I think they would have ultimately closed stores probably.
Right.
And so, naturally we would have gotten a little spill off from that, but we were definitely not rooting for it to happen.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Other stores would close and then people would be forced to go to Ken's, which is great for you, but overall people would be driving like much farther and not be able to walk, and it'd be tough for everybody.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Seattle specifically. We've talked a lot about how Seattle can be a tough place for restaurants due to some of our ordinances and laws and fees. And then it can also be pretty expensive for delivery drivers and Ubers. I know we're the most expensive in that case, but I don't know a lot about kind of the grocery store in terms of how you work with the city. How is that relationship, and kind of how is Seattle different from maybe other cities?
I mean, there's a lot of red tape in Seattle. It can take a lot longer to get permits for things when you want to do like, a little electrical thing here, a little plumbing thing there. The minimum wage being higher in Seattle than outside of the city is probably the biggest thing that impacts us. It kind of means that it's hard for us to justify having high school kids come and bag groceries when we got to pay them $22 an hour. That gets hard to justify quickly. So we've definitely had to like learn to do more with less. But, Seattle is, as much as there's frustrating things about it, it's still a great city, and the neighborhoods that our stores are in I couldn't ask for a better thing. Just the way the neighborhood has grown up around Ken's Market. I mean, Finney Ridge was not always like this nice neighborhood. Once all the tech came in, that's when that neighborhood really took off. But as far as dealing with the city, the health department is kind of a roll of a dice of who's you're going to show up, how strict are they going to be. Sometimes they'll scrutinize, every square inch of your walk-in, and sometimes they'll just breeze right through and looks good, and that'll be it.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things can be frustrating. And then there's things like we'll have some graffiti on our building, and the next day there'll be a notice that we better clean that up, otherwise we're going to get fined. And
it's on you? The city doesn't help with that?
That's on us. And so if we don't clean it up in a timely manner, according to the city, then we'll get fined.
Yeah. Has public safety and stealing been an issue? I know, I go to the Fred Meyer sometimes over in Ballard, and I've noticed they've changed a lot about how you can enter and exit in that store due to some of the theft and a lot of security. Is that something that's been a concern for Ken's?
During COVID, it was horrible. We can't really afford to have like hundreds of dollars of groceries walking out the door every day. So that kind of meant just us and the owner and other owners would be confronting
You guys
people.
became security?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, one of my partners, Dan, got punched right in the face one time.
Oh my God.
but he got that basket of groceries back.
but he did it. He did it.
He did it. Yeah. I do not condone any of our staff or anyone else confronting someone trying to steal. But with us partners, that's our stuff that you're taking,
Do you hire? I know some companies are talking about hiring private security for some of their businesses. Is that something you're thinking about?
At our Market Time store, we had a security guard for the past few years, but the cost of it just got so out of hand that we stopped doing it. But the shoplifting has gotten a lot better the past couple of years, thankfully. So it's not a huge, obviously it happens, but it's not a huge thing we're worried about every day.
That's good. You mentioned about labor and minimum wage. I was thinking about, my mom worked at a grocery store for a long time, and I feel like it was common to kind of work at the grocery store your whole life and retire from that grocery store. And I don't know if I'm seeing that as much anymore. Or maybe that's happening in independent, like at Ken's. But how are you seeing labor, and are people staying at grocery stores longer, or what's going on there?
I think a big reason why we've been able to stay successful is that we do have a pretty good legion of people that have stuck around. Although we are getting ready to, at both stores, people that have worked there for over 30 years that are getting ready to retire here soon. Yeah.
And are you having any hard time like getting people? I guess you have high schoolers that can come in on the summer and stuff, but are you still seeing that pipeline of people applying for jobs?
Boy, it really ebbs and flows, and I don't really know like how or why that is. But I would say during the summer and holidays, it's pretty easy to hire like a capable college student. But for kind of the other positions, it can take us a long time to find like the right fit, like someone that would be in like a management position or ordering position.
What I'm hopeful for is that all these people that are getting laid off by tech companies are going to be like, you know what? I'm going to a grocery store. I don't want to use my AI. I want to use my hands and be with the people. So I hope that for you.
I hope so too.
So one thing I think about a lot is self-checkout, because I feel like we've tricked ourselves into thinking that is better, like high-end service. Like I want somebody else to bag my groceries. That's a nice service to have. And I know that comes with maybe potentially having to talk to somebody, but I don't want to go. I shop by myself. So I don't want to go through this self-checkout and scan, 30 items myself and pack them up myself. But, the Safeway up by my house, I think there's only one line that you can go and to a person. Everything else is self-checkout. And you're seeing that everywhere. Does yours have any self-checkout or no? Or what's your business strategy around that?
No self-checkout.
So walk me through the thought process on that.
Yeah, when our stores were remodeled, we had all the like electrical in place to put that in if we wanted, and just looking at how much it costs to maintain those machines with how often they break, and then just the fact that people steal more with them. Those things sounded not good to us, but the main thing for us was, I think, main part of our business is kind of that person-to-person contact, and having that service of having your groceries bagged for you is super important to us. We didn't want to lose that at all. It requires, constant training and reinforcement of, good customer service practices, but having self-checkout is something that we have never really seriously considered at this point.
Okay, good. Don't do it.
Yeah.
I don't mind it if it's like I'm getting one item, but especially if there's no lines. Like I think you guys are small enough to where you're not going to have the Costco lines where you're staying there for a long time, I don't think. So I think you're doing the right thing. But that's interesting about them breaking in the cost of that too, because I think the main argument is, you save on labor by using these machines, but like, are you saving that much if you're spending in other places there? So that's interesting. Have tariffs impacted your grocery business? Has that been tough?
Definitely the wine and spirits world.
Oh, okay.
Lots of amazing wine comes from Europe. And, before the tariffs, you could get a really good bottle of wine for $5 wholesale. And now that's never going to happen.
What is it? Like, what is it now?
Well, I mean, like say that same $5 bottle is probably like close to $10 now.
Wow. So doubling the cost. That's, yeah.
And that's not necessarily like a blanket thing, but
Sure.
focus on domestic stuff, honestly. There's still the same, we haven't really shrunk the category necessarily all that much, but we're definitely seeing a lot more movement in domestic wine than before, just because there's washing and stuff still available that's pretty cheap still. And then stainless steel, I guess, for some certain remodel things has gone up. But
yeah, so you did 2 remodels. What's kind of next for Ken's Market? Is there anything coming up? New stores, new anything? Or are you guys maybe just trying to maintain since you are newer to ownership?
Yeah, we still got bills to pay.
Yeah.
We still got loans to pay. So nothing in the short term, but we've definitely have talked about it and have kicked the tires on a thing or two.
On a new location, a remodel, or all of the things. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Derek, we're going to close out the show with our last question, which is, what's something you're not doing anymore? We're done doing it. And it's for a good reason.
We're not doing our hot bar anymore.
Oh, that's a good answer. What's the decision on that?
I know that's a very specific answer to this question.
No, but it's interesting.
But it was something that at both stores required so much time and effort and cooking ability and food storage. Do all this stuff to put something out that only half of it would sell the majority of the time. And then you're wheeling all this food that you just spent hours on back into the kitchen, wondering what you're going to do with all of it. So the hot bar will not be returning at either of our stores.
Okay.
The other thing that we want to stop is just kind of the race to the bottom that's happening right now, I think, in a lot of grocery stores with just quality of food in general. We would like to stop bringing things in and to do more of doing our things ourselves.
Meaning like with like your produce going more local, or how would you go about doing that?
Pre-prepared food. A lot of the grocery stores around town all buy the same stuff from the same places and all sell the same thing. You're seeing that all over the place.
Well, I think that's good. I can't wait to go to Ken's. When I was researching, I forgot you guys make deli sandwiches, and I love me a deli sandwich. So I had to go get myself one when I was prepping for this episode.
Yeah, come get our burger on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Ken's Market. It has quite the cult following.
Oh, does it? One of my questions, I didn't put it in here, but I was wondering what the most popular item was at Ken's. Do you think it's the burger?
So on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., we kind of are like a burger joint, basically. We have a $7 smash burger that has caught on fire. We started doing it like 6 years ago. And
oh, wow.
After the past year or so, it's like turned into this thing where you can't even find parking. Yeah, so come during those, get a burger. It's $7. It's awesome.
Well, and there's community too, right? You're going to probably meet some of your neighbors and be around other folks. So I think that's great. Well, Derek, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me and share a little bit about Ken's. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to. I don't think I've been to the Fremont location, but I will definitely be going to get some of that smash burger. So yeah, thank you, Derek, for taking the time. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Rachel.
This has been The Weekly, with production assistance from Nick Patry. If you liked what you heard, rate us and write a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. We love listener feedback, so if you have any story suggestions, comments, or complaints, email us at info@theweeklyseattle.com. Make sure to check back next Sunday for the latest local business news. We'll see you next time.